Dave.
Yes.
Good job.
All of that.
Good job.
It's good, right?
Yeah.
I have my glasses on that don't have the anti-glare lens, so I might look autistic like David. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Hey, you guys, you want to do a podcast?
You know it.
Let's go.
Unidentical.
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 What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unidentical Pod with me, Jason Collings, and my co-host, as always, my identical twin brother.
David Collings.
Got you when you were sipping.
Yep.
And as you can see, we're here in the main room. We're in the big room because you know what that means? We got a guest. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to be the fuck around boys today. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
We used to call each other the fuck
Yeah.
around boys. Before we get to that, make sure you like and what is it? Make sure you rate and review at Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, wherever it is that you download your audio. If you want to look at our gorgeous faces, of course, we're on YouTube at Unidentical Pod. Make sure you like and subscribe and ring the notification bell so you know when a new episode's coming at you. And for everything one-stop shop, Unidentical, go to unidenticalpod.com. That's unidenticalpod.com. We have links to merch. We have links to my special. We have links to the audio and links to the video. We got links on links on links on links. So that's where you go. If you want to send us any story ideas or questions or any of that shite, go to Unidentical Am I slurring that?
No.
Unidenticalpod at gmail or gmail.com.
Nice.
Did I nail it?
You did.
Did I get everything?
You didn't slur anything.
Upcoming dates? What do I got?
Man, busy.
Man, I'm so busy I can't even remember. You know what? It'll be in the subscription. What is it? Description.
Neither one of those.
It'll be in the description below this episode. Am I okay placed on this microphone solo, man?
I'm still laughing at you.
Because I was.
But anyway, yeah. The slurring is done. You're all good.
Don't forget, we are recording this here in Long Beach, California at the podcast or at podcast place. No, the podcast place here in Long Beach with super producer Solo Man.
Yeah.
Today, we got an awesome guest. I'm so excited to have this guy here because he's not only a fellow comedian, he is one of my buddies. He's an actual friend. In other words, I have certain people that I've met in comedy that if I was to quit comedy today, that I would still stay friends with these people. And I believe this guy is one of those guys. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mr. Manny Maldonado.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, I'm excited to be
Are
here.
you excited?
I am.
I could tell. You're
said it.
so excited. Dude, we're I'm happy to have you here because you and I have some of the best times on the road.
Yeah.
We've done the road together a few times now, and every time we do the road together, we always go, "Hey man, why don't we do this more?"
We should hang out more. I had no idea you lived really close to me, so now since we reconnected again, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we said, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, he lives here in Long Beach in this best city on the planet. But dude, we have too much fun. I feel like when we're on the road, when we do the road, the shows are just a little part of it.
Yeah. The shows are just, whatever hour and a half we have to do, but the rest of the day we just clown on each other.
We clown on each
tap
other.
on each other.
Clown on other people.
Oh, we love it.
Oh man. And then also the dancing, you guys. This young man can get his groove on.
I love the dance.
Does he really dance? Or
he can dance.
Oh yeah.
He can dance, and it's so fun to watch. He does this move right here.
This
is my Manny right here. Whenever I'm dancing.
Once I'm grabbing that forehead like that, that's when I know I'm either have some nice drinks in me.
Yep.
And I'm just ready to.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't care if I'm dancing by myself or with somebody. I'll have a good time. There's no shame in my game.
And both happen.
Both
constantly.
happen. Yes.
He's either with somebody, and sometimes you're done with the person. You're like, I'm gonna just go do my own thing, and you start. You know what I mean?
Because there's people that can't dance and they're like open micers. They're just openers, and I don't like hanging out with openers anyway.
Man,
just headliners.
We recently just did a bunch of shows for. I remember I talked to you guys about when I was in Laughlin for the Cinco de Mayo comedy festival that they had out there, and the comedians were just me. It was me, Manny, and other people. It doesn't
Julio Gonzalez.
it don't matter. It was
Gabe Lopez. But we were together, and we were just bouncing off each other. We were just being silly. That's why I could be silly with you. There's not too many people I could just be silly with.
Yeah.
It's because you're Generation X.
Yes.
Even though you look like a 15-year-old boy right now,
You look so young, dude.
You're Are you on the 5th floor yet?
I am on the 5th floor. I just got part of that club last October, and I love it. Some people were like, "Oh my god, I don't know if I should be part." No, what are we gonna do? You got to be embracing it.
And if you guys don't know what I mean by 5th floor, we're in our 50s.
In our 5th floor,
Fifth
up
floor.
in the sky.
we vibe on so many different things, and I was like, Manny, you got to hang out with my brother because he's constantly quoting Star Wars as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
I love Star Wars.
I'm all about that life.
Anything you see on our set that has a Star Wars,
and I enjoyed it.
vibe.
I just walked in here. I noticed that there was a Greedo, there was a Boba Fett, and there's a Stormtrooper. And
Bubba Fett?
Bubba Fett?
I thought you said Bubba Fett. There's Bubba Fett. That's Boba Fett's cousin from Kentucky.
That's the Stormtrooper. Where is he?
I think he was. Oh, sorry, R2D2.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I just put in my bag.
Arturito.
The other one. But I'm a big Star Wars guy. I grew up in Modesto, California, home of George Lucas.
Yes.
So I'm all about that life.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So did you see it? Well, let's see.
I did. I saw it in My first memory of watching Star Wars standing in a line was 1980. Standing in a long line at a theater called Briggsmore Theater. The wait was 2 hours, and that's why Empire Strikes Back is my favorite.
Because that was the movie in '80.
It's
also the best one.
It's also the best. For one, it's the best one, but I just remember that very well.
Can you go get us something to drink?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here on this podcast?
I know.
Yeah, I can go on and on.
I'm about that life. I'm about big time Star Wars fan.
You just said you have your office full of collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
When we were on the road, we were stopping at GameStop.
Oh, cool.
Because I didn't know this. Because when I think GameStop, I think, oh, they sell video games. He's like, no, they sell action figures and stuff too. So he went in there, and you ended up getting a Star Wars?
Yeah, it was a Darth Maul Black Series, new one that just came out, and I was like, I need to get it.
What is it? What do you mean?
It's a 6-inch action figure. It's a Black Series.
Oh, okay.
Black Series. Yeah.
Now I have something. I have a couple of things. What is Black Series? What is that?
Well, it's just,
I have a Stormtrooper helmet from that.
Yeah, no, it's just a new brand that they issued out. Maybe about.
Is it part of the whole diversity?
No. This is right before the woke. The woke didn't. The woke wasn't around these Star Wars toys yet.
Solomon loves it when I make those jokes.
There was no woke vibe around this.
Okay.
They started creating just the series called the Black Series.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
And just started creating action figures, helmets like you have.
Yeah,
and
I have this helmet because my quarantine project is I built a whole suit armor.
Oh, okay.
Stormtrooper.
Nice.
And it's incredible. It looks screen ready.
But
it's
screen
made of
movie quality, and he
EVA
made it
foam.
himself.
Nice.
He's made of EVA foam.
Great.
He had
But
nothing.
the only
but
thing
time.
that's real is not real, but the only thing that's not the foam is the helmet and the boots.
Mm-hmm.
And of course the little thing like the neck thing and all that. But yeah, that's what my wife and I did when we got quarantined.
Well,
together.
your wife and you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Becca maybe came in and out of the room a few times.
No, she was all into it because she had she was filming it on time lapse cameras. Like,
Where's this film at?
it's somewhere. She's got it, but it like you see us going.
Oh, there's
all
the
little
Black
parts
Series.
and-
Yeah, that's the one.
one you got.
I got that. No, I didn't get that Darth Maul. It was a different one. He was the color of the box was more blue. That's actually a nice one right there. Actually,
Yeah.
Blue Series.
yeah, kind of blue Black Series. But
our viewers are riveted. We know they are.
no, I collect toys a lot. That's my thing. Some people have, they do drugs. I like to collect toys.
Yeah. Have you ever heard
And
that
sometimes
Facebook?
do drugs.
There's a Facebook because you live here in Long Beach.
Yeah, I moved out here during the pandemic.
Okay, there's a Facebook group called Good Shit Long Beach,
Okay.
and they what it is it's a kind of a community. They all kind of share. They give things back and forth to each other. Like we have this that we're giving away. Anybody wants it? That kind of thing.
No, I haven't been in too much in tune with white people that much, so I want to take a break.
It's-
I don't know if I can just give out free shit for no reason.
I discovered it. Well, you understand? My Mexican wife is on it. I'm not on it. She's on it, but she found
So
it.
you've rubbed off. You've
Yeah,
rubbed
and
off.
she found it, and there was this person that was giving away like all of this excellent condition toys. Like,
Man, that's
including
awesome.
A
They
giant,
had no idea what they had.
a giant. No, they did. Here's the story. One of them was this big Millennium Falcon, and it was a kid who was like 17, and he got him when he was younger, and he told his mom, "I don't want these going to another kid. They have to go to an adult person who's going."
Nice.
And and my wife told her, you have to, if you put a little story in there, they'll kind of choose which one's the best. And she said how, it was the first movie I ever saw in the movie theater. And my husband was,
Oh man.
and she got me this whole box of these great action figures and VHS.
So you have a lot of the vintage stuff.
I do from myself, but from that package, it's that's not the vintage stuff.
But probably maybe from 1996 on up.
Right, exactly.
That's good.
Because if you remember the ones that came out when we were kids, they were not screen accurate. The Kenner.
No, yeah, I'm all about that Kenner life. Those are the vintage ones.
Right, and to me, those have a soft spot because of that. It looks like a toy, Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
Hey, Jason, can you go get us some popcorn?
Yeah.
So yeah,
go on and on.
So those they had remakes of all those toys, especially with the hype of the new Phantom Menace that was coming out in '98, and I'm already getting the crickets already.
This is I get this from Jay all the time.
Oh, okay. So this is normal stuff.
That's normal.
So you guys will be at Olive Garden, so all of a sudden you hear crickets.
We had his son. His son was over him and his son were over the other day, and I'm like, Jay, check out these. I have these cool action figure things. It's in a collectible box thing, and I'm all, John, check these. His son's all, yeah, ooh, toys. Like,
my son's 30. You know what I mean? So it's all cool toys. But here's the thing, and you're going to agree. Both of you are going to agree. A lot of people in our generation, we do collect these toys, and here's my opinion why: because we arguably had the best era for toys.
We did.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 80s, even the 70s, late 70s into the late 80s was arguably the best time for toys.
It was the best time, and there's a lot of the stuff that was hazardous for you. They were still selling it.
Oh, they were still selling it.
Yeah, they were still
Boba
selling
Fett
it.
that shot the missile.
Yeah, they had that, and not just that. I have some vans, not like van vehicles. You'd put in the cord and sparks of flame, not flame, but just sparks come out. And I have those still. Yeah,
remember those?
They made those for. They had an Evil Knievel one.
Yeah. So they had them for the vans too. For the Star Wars, I have a white Star Wars van, and then a one with Darth Vader's face on the side of it. And you would just coil it up, and then sparks would come out. And I'm like, and that's a damn fire hazard now. But back then it's okay.
And that van was my favorite part of the movie.
When they went all safety on issues and like, let's start, painting the guns orange and shit. Great, I guess more kids are living, but it took the fun out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it did cost
the fun out of it.
I like anything where you play with the toy and you might die is a good thing.
How used to the
fun.
When we were kids, how used to the smell of burning skin did we get? Seriously. We were so used to the smell of burning skin because we had the cap guns, you had the little tape caps, but then you had the little red bucket looking one. And everything was dangerous. Everything was a choking hazard.
There we go.
Everything.
Yeah, I have that. I have that one right there.
There
yeah, I have that.
Remember those.
So I have that. And
how did you get that?
So I mean, I remember they came. I mean, my parents, my mom would always reward me if I had good grades. She'd give me like an action figure, like 2 or 3 a month, or sometimes vehicles. So I was on purposely trying to study hard just to get all these toys, and I took care of myself.
I got to get that sand creature, or whatever.
Yeah, Tusken Raider.
Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
I love it when you
all nerdy and stuff.
He does it too. He corrects me.
But you're right when it comes to speaking of childhood. I remember we had a rule growing up. We would come home from school, we'd do our homework, and then we played outside until it was dinner time, and then then you eat, and then you go play again.
Yep.
And I remember people fall down, scabs, shit, open up, but it didn't matter. You would just get.
Most of the time, if we fell and scabbed our elbow or our knee, we didn't even go home. We just went,
you kept on playing. Either you played. It's a different time now. And I try. This is the stuff that I'm having drama with my son. He's 19. He tells me, how did you guys? I mean, he asked me these questions like we're so prehistoric. It wasn't so prehistoric. It was only 20 or 30 years ago.
What I find interesting that's a lot different now, because I'm still in the neighborhood, and I grew up here in Long Beach. So I see the schools that I went to, and when it's that time of day when school's getting out, and you're seeing the parents descend on the schools, and they're lined up all outside.
Hell no, we didn't have that. We had to ride our bikes.
Here's what
we had to walk. We drove or whatever.
I remember if your mom was picking you up, that means you fucked up.
Oh yeah, you would be made fun of. Yeah,
you were in trouble, or
something
you were going to get made.
Yeah, because we were more independent during those times. And now you see all these kids,
And it cracks me out when they get in the back seat.
They get in the back seat. They're on their phone. They don't even talk to their parents. It's like they're treating their parents like an Uber driver.
You got Uber Eats, you got Uber One, and you got Uber Mom. That's what you have.
No, it's true. Like I'll see some. It's funny when the other day I was picking up some food over there by Wilson High School, and there's some restaurants you can pick up some pizza or whatever. I think I was getting a pizza, and the school's across the street, and then I see these kids getting picked up. Their parents don't even say hi. Even the parents they don't even say hi to their kids. The kids just jump in. Yeah. You know where I live.
Unbelievable. And they don't know how to walk home. No, none of these kids walk to and from school. Where we've talked about this before. And if you look at studies and if you look it up, that your kid, because we started walking to and from school in like the fucking 3rd, 4th grade or something.
Yeah, we would walk or ride our bikes.
But it teaches you, it exercises your mind, and it teaches you how to be aware of your surroundings, where to go, which way. Because if you have no awareness of anything, you'll just keep walking in a straight line. We needed to remember that up there we're going to turn, but we didn't have the distraction of phones either.
No, yeah,
and we just didn't have that.
We did it, and it's funny that you're bringing that up because it's a joke. I think I was trying it out and it's working. I was talking about we grew up in neighborhoods, or sometimes you would go to school, and then, there'd always be a sexual predator around, and you would just pedal fucking faster. Yeah. You would pedal faster. Yeah. Like, okay, there he is. You would just pedal.
I have that bit. I go, I was a child in the 70s and 80s in Los Angeles, and if you know anything about LA at that time, it was the golden age for active serial killers.
Yeah.
And our parents were just hanging keys around our neck and disappearing for the 18 hours.
Right.
And just giving us a dime. Say, if anything happens, give us a call. So now we got to find a phone. Yeah. Because they didn't have phone. I told the audience,
while you're running away
in our front pocket.
While you're running away from somebody.
Right. We had to just be out there and
exactly. Dude, it's so different.
It's so different because
kids are so different. You know what word that a lot of these kids are saying, and I don't even think I uttered this word all the way through high school. I never said this word. Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed?
So many of these kids are talking about how overwhelming everything is.
Everything is, even though they have everything at their disposal.
Yeah. What's overwhelming? The fact that you don't have to know anything because all the answers are in your front pocket. It's crazy.
There was no Google.
We had
to just learn shit. I mean,
I always imagine going back in time with an iPhone and showing it.
They'd probably throw us in jail.
To my 13-year-old self.
Oh, they would lock us up underneath Area 51.
Say all the things it does, which is also a phone. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, I remember when it was cool to have a cell phone, when it first became cool, and that's all the damn thing was a phone. Yeah. Now,
you had to pull it in like
the very last
flyer wagon behind you because it was so big.
Yeah, the very last thing.
Well, I'll even take another step further. I remember I started out with pager first, go to the payphone, and then it was a cell phone later on.
Yep, and you knew how urgent the call was depending on.
Well, yeah, because people could put codes on. Yeah. You could put 69 on them, or let's go to bed on the pager. Boobies. Yeah. And then you'd rock around with the roll of quarters. You weren't doing laundry. You were just returning calls.
Forgot about let's go.
Remember the girls would put
let's go to bed. Yeah.
How did they would say 8383 was baby, but then there was something they would put in front of it to say
143 was I love you.
Yeah.
There was a lot of codes with the pager, and those were good times. And where I grew up, I grew up in Modesto, California, and we even grew up in a smaller town called Ceres, California. And what we did, I think you guys can attest to this. I think you guys had this out here too, but cruising was a way of life for us.
Oh boy!
Yep. So we would cruise on Friday and Saturday nights. Yep. And you would hang out and wait for that girl in the bongo jeans to walk around. And,
bongo jeans.
And the half jeans. Yeah, the half shirts with the tank tops, the girls with the Aquanet. Those were good times, man.
They just brought cruising back. Remember they outlawed cruising on Whittier Boulevard.
People tell me that before, and there's another comedian, George Perez, was telling me about how he used to cruise a lot in Orange County,
Balboa.
Santa Ana.
Balboa.
There was another, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a big cruising community, just like Whittier. Because when I think of Los Angeles, everybody always talks about the people cruising
Whittier
on
Boulevard, but then you got the Valley.
Uh-huh.
I think there was Ventura Boulevard. There was a lot of cruising. But for years, like the lowrider culture was born on Whittier Boulevard, right? And then it outlawed cruising. Well, apparently just recently, within the last year, they brought it back. Cruise nights are allowed again.
That's awesome. I feel like that was such a special time. I mean, I had an Impala, even though I'm a short guy. I had a '66 Impala.
Ooh,
it was what I like to describe 3-bedroom, 2-bath because I'm little, and you would cruise, you would wait.
That's the first year of the strips lights in the back, right?
Yes, but mines weren't circular. It was just straight. Yeah, 65 is circular, 66 is straight.
I had a 63.
But I had my dad and I, we bought it for $500. We fixed it up, and it was nice and souped up. And that was the way to do it. You'd wait for that, get that phone number, you'd cruise around.
Yeah.
And we cruised the city, and obviously Modesto, but in a street called McHenry. And that's where they originated the movie American Graffiti.
Yep.
So that people, when you graduated the first weekend of summer, which would be June, people would go from all over the country just to go to McHenry and cruise that strip. But there was a lot of violence that happened, so they stopped doing it. But man, it was awesome, man. It was really cool.
They outlawed it everywhere, man. One of the things that we would do for spring break is we would go to Palm Springs on spring break, and the strip in Palm Springs was cruising central. Like it was like motorcycles.
And people would walk too, right? And skateboard and whatever.
Guys would have, and this
low riders, race cars, everything.
Everything, right?
And the funniest part was so just so like I don't even know the word, but guys would bring water bottles, spray bottles to spray the girls.
Oh yeah.
And then some guys would have ping pong paddles because a lot of the girls would be on the back of motorcycles in a G-string.
Nice.
And remember they would cruise by in the car and get them with the ping pong.
I mean,
it was nuts.
Yeah.
So people here, like when you guys grew up, would you guys, if you guys wanted to go cruising, you'd have to go to Whittier or Orange County? So
Balboa,
you guys kind of in the middle?
Yeah, Balboa had a that road going all the way down to Balboa Island where the Ferris wheels, everything, was a known cruising spot. But we came from not a lot of money, so we would go there. But then you'd see people like our age cruising in like a slant nose Porsche, where we were in a '62 Comet.
Okay,
you know what I mean? But they looked at us like we were cool because we were the only ones rocking it like that there.
Right.
Whereas if you wanted to go where all the classic cars were, then that's when you went to Whittier Boulevard and that.
Okay, and then would people cruise like the Toyota Tercels with the fender trims and all that stuff?
All that.
The
mini trucks.
Suzuki, the Jeeps.
The mini trucks. Remember
the
Midnight
Datsuns.
Illusions?
Yeah.
Moving Violations
were the two big mini truck crews out here
Okay.
in LA. But also, we had small cruise nights where it wasn't really considered a cruise night. It was just the spot everybody went to after the parties in Long Beach, locally, right at like Palo Verde and Stearns. There's a Del Taco there. Back in the day, that used to be a spot called Noggles. And for some reason, that became the cruise spot at the end of the night on the weekends.
Which was interesting because it's small.
Tiny. But people would do little loops through the parking lot and around. And then just hanging out there.
People, a fight would break out here once in a while, but that's just normal because you had too many people in a condensed place.
Yeah, everybody's peacocking and everybody's trying to.
My only concern with them bringing cruising back is that now we have cell phones. There's going to be a lot of accidents because people are going to be texting and cruising.
Right.
We're going to have a lot of accidents for that. But man, I missed that.
So we had a lot of that. That was the way to do things. And so you would do the cruising. And then we would have house parties. Sometimes in the orchard too, we'd have kegs.
In the what?
House parties.
In the orchard?
In the orchard, yeah, because there's a lot of agriculture where I live. So we'd go out in the country, and you
just set up like the trucks with the headlights.
Yeah, Some people had homes, and then you would pitch in for the kind of like in the movie Dazed and Confused, where they pitch in for the keg. Yeah. Right. Somebody had the truck, and they just drop it off. It was a normal thing.
Big thing in Long Beach was those keg parties.
Okay.
Where we would do fundraisers, and then you'd take that money and you'd find a parent that was cool enough to let you party. Right, and we had a big party for our 16th birthday
at our house.
And our parents were the cool parents that day.
Yeah,
but we ended up having something like six kegs at this big party. My pops almost got arrested.
Yeah,
because nobody complained about sound because we let all the neighbors know.
Uh-huh.
But these two girls in the party got drunk and then walked out to the front. And we're walking down the street wasted and
acting a fool
right into the headlights of a police car.
Yeah.
So that was like, boom, illegal underage drinking.
Of course.
They got us. Yeah.
I just feel like this generation, they're missing out a lot. And I wish.
It's almost like the 80s was almost like the 50s almost.
Yeah.
It was a very innocent time in certain ways. I mean, it was the boom for cocaine and all that stuff. But like the teenage life.
Having most in common with the 50s is like that post-war.
Yeah.
And also think of both those decades and how much pop culture is a part of those, those eras.
It was the 50s was there was a lot of huge popular pop culture changes, like the birth of rock and roll.
Yeah, Elvis dancing a certain way and people losing their mind.
Beatles in the 60s. And then the 80s kind of had like the resurgence of the British invasion and all that stuff and new wave and everything was just so like, let's go to the dance.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
It's just today, I don't see any of that.
It's funny because I tell my son, because like I said, he's 19. He's a freshman in college. So, he's at that stage where I'm like, okay, so what do you guys do for fun? He's like, well, sometimes we hang out at the theater, but they won't go inside the theaters. They kind of just kind of chill outside. And then I'm like, well, you can't afford to go in. He's like, no, people just congregate out there and they hang out. They take pictures and take selfies and I'm like, no.
They do
and then he goes,
dances and shit.
Yeah, they do these little videos, and they have their own language. I'm trying to decipher some of the codes that my son talks to. I just learned a new word the other day. Charisma is not charisma anymore. It's called Riz. It means.
So when somebody says Riz, that's what they're talking.
That's what they mean.
I've been hearing that. I'm like,
yeah. And then I go.
That's cool.
Like if like my son and I like sports, so I'm like, oh, so what do you think about this player? He's mid. I'm like, what is that?
We had an episode we were talking about all these words, and I didn't know mid is like he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay. He can't just say he's okay. He's mid.
He's mid.
And I'm just like, Okay.
Yeah.
But I do remember one of the words that they use a lot. He always uses bet. But bet we had. I remember we had that, when Kid and Play.
Dope seems to be timeless.
Dope is cool. I think cool is cool. I don't know.
Cool. I mean, is it cool?
I hope so. I don't know. But dope is
Not
dope.
mid.
It's not mid. Riz. You have Riz.
Riz.
And then the new one that he always, well, not new, but it's kind of worn out now, the facts. Instead of saying, I guess we said, really? True. That's what we said growing up, but no, it's facts. Everything's facts.
Also,
the only time I've seen people use that word facts in front of me, though, is a guy who wants you to think he knows what you're talking about, and he doesn't have any idea what you're talking about. So he'll go, facts.
I'm watching this series called The Real Bros of Simi Valley. It's
my favorite.
Series.
Is it? What is that on?
I watch it on YouTube.
It's on YouTube,
Okay.
but it's also
Check it out.
Facebook TV or something.
All right.
But there's this one thing they keep saying, I'm steezing, and I don't know what.
Steezing?
Steezing. I don't know what the hell that. I'm gonna look so old on this episode, but I don't know.
I know. I used to work. We had slang. Obviously, we had scamming. Like you're scamming them. Trying to holler at some girls.
Right.
Also,
Now
you're trying to
you
mac on a girl.
Macking, scamming.
Mm-hmm.
See, both of those now sound nefarious these days, but back then it was cool. We were macking.
That's obviously a word Latinos never use. Hey, why you being on nefarious?
Dude, we were doing this.
So I'm working on this bit. We're talking about words
This
Latinos
is my
never
favorite.
use. And we're just coming up with just goofy ass words.
Latinos don't use.
And like that was like a Latino. Hey, what's up? Why being on nefarious? Like a Latino would never say that.
Let's come up with more.
That's a great word. Or why being all serendipitous and shit. And you always
Using
have
it
to put and shit at the end.
This shit, right? Dude, what's another good one?
Oh, I think with the one that we came up with, it was funny. We were talking about
When we were in
archaeologists. Like, hey, why you acting like an archaeologist digging in my shit? Like,
a real feeling of melancholia. Man.
see, there you go, melancholy.
Man, I'm feeling real melancholy about things right now.
Oh, okay. Here's the definition right here. Steez can be written as Steez, Steez, or Steezy. The spelling of a Steez does not change its meaning.
Oh, being stylish.
Feeling stylish. Okay, so Duran was Steez.
They were steezing, yeah.
They were steezing.
Because their style.
We're blaming it on Rio for no reason.
Yeah, blaming it on Rio. They was hungry.
And getting a reflex on.
Dude, they were huge.
Fleck. Were you a Duran fan?
I was. I remember hearing they had Notorious. That was them too, right?
Right.
Was it?
I think it is. I think it is.
Notorious.
Latinos love Duran.
Yeah, it's funny because it's funny you're bringing this up because I've been living in LA since 2010, and I'm from Northern Cali, but it's a big difference between the North and the South.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's like two different states.
A
lot of people don't realize that in our country. California is the size of the entire East Coast.
It's huge. It's huge.
Also two completely different.
And there's this one artist that people love out here. A lot of Latinos love, but we just didn't feel him too much in Northern Cali. He's
Morrissey?
Morrissey, yeah. Like
everybody here loves all the Latinos.
So out here, Latinos like, hey, Morrissey forever.
They're naming their daughters Morrissey.
The Smiths, yeah.
Yeah, the Smiths, Morrissey. That vibe is huge.
Well, he was the singer.
That vibe is huge out here. I think it is not where I'm from the Central Valley, but it might be huge like in San Francisco or San Jose and all that stuff. But I really didn't know anything about Morrissey until and there was a lot of Latinos who were wearing Morrissey shirts. I'm like, who is that? I thought that was like another person another Selena that we didn't know about.
And it's such sad fucking music. It's
depressing.
It was there's no happiness.
And it's all everybody's kids wearing black and just it's just sad.
I'm so sorry or whatever he says.
It's
so sickened.
That's something I don't want to dance to or vibe to. I like upbeat stuff.
But yeah, a lot of
I want to be
Latinos in
sick.
LA
They love it.
and
They have a huge.
when he went solo.
They have a huge. He has a huge Latino following. I know when he was doing. People were telling me like he would do shows at the Greek, and that thing sold out. Like
Oh boy, yeah.
And
Elaine and I had a friend who he had all the tattoos. Him and his girl went to all the shows, and then they had a baby girl and named her Morrissey.
well, here's something I learned this the other day. Like I said, I really like to know. I'm still, even though I've been in Long Beach it'll be 4 years in September. It's an amazing community. I had no idea. My barber told me the other day that rockabilly is from out here too.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that was, and he broke it down. And
Right.
yeah.
You know what? I just saw a thing that there's this huge rockabilly subculture in Japan now.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you see them all, and they all get
They
together
dance
and-
weird as shit.
Yeah.
They do these weird dances.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of, because he was mentioning his wife, who I know is from Whittier,
Mhm.
and then that made me think of that like local LA dance music, like Expose and that. Was
Yeah.
that big up there?
Freestyle.
It is. So you guys call it
That was
freestyle.
freestyle, okay.
We call it high energy.
High energy. I've heard that. I've heard
yeah.
that.
So so it's funny because growing up, I'm an hour and a half away from San Francisco, maybe an hour and a half as well from San Jose, California. San Jose produced a lot of freestyle artists. I think Angelina's from out there. The girl sings "Release Me."
Right.
So
Who's this?
she's from
Who's
out
this?
there.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, that's Debbie Deb.
Or
Okay. Summertime.
That's Nocera.
knows it.
That it's funny because that niche of music is very. It never really made it to mainstream
Right.
as far as top. I think the only artist that made it top 40 was Lisa.
Yeah.
And I guess Tiffany was not Tiffany, but Debbie Gibson was kind of part of that for a little bit.
Lisa and Cult Jam.
Lisa and Cold Jam,
Yeah, man.
and then you had
They were great.
the Jets. They were from
They were
India.
cool.
The Jets,
Yeah.
but they weren't really freestyle for me. They were just a really different kind of group.
I
want to know. You found out.
Yeah,
I
I feel
got
like
a crush on you.
I feel like freestyle kind of comes from clubs, whereas the Jets were more like a family thing. Like the Jets.
Yeah, they were more family.
Yeah.
They were more. Yeah, but so I think the only one to make it in the top 40, as far as mainstream music, was Lisa. I think Stevie B had maybe.
Stevie B had a few hits.
Stevie B had a few hits. Timmy T from Fresno, California. He had that one song, "One More Try," that moved up to number 1 one time.
Yeah,
Billboard.
dude. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a memory. I did a show in Fresno.
Yeah. He's where he's from.
And that dude picked us up in a limo.
That's him. Yeah. He used to do that. He used to have his own personal limo.
That's what it was.
You guys were together on this
Timmy
one?
T.
No. But I do remember he picked me up one time. I was doing a show in Fresno. I'm like, "Hey man, what's up? Why are you driving me?" He's like, "One more try."
Yeah.
Get in the car.
He was singing. I'm like, that's the guy.
Yeah, he had his own little
Yeah.
limo, and he'd pick up people once in a while, which was kind of cool and different. And he actually made that song. He did the beats and everything in his garage. It's kind of a cool story.
Yeah. No, it's-
The fact that you said, it never really went mainstream. All these years later makes it even kind of more cooler now. It's
I think it is, and
very
it has. And if you know
California.
and I think you guys know that. I mean, every time they have a freestyle concert,
Yeah.
out here, especially in LA, whether it be I've been to the Greek, they're packed out. I mean, they have such a big following.
Didn't they have
And
one recently at the Queen Mary? By the Queen Mary?
They have one. They have one once a year, I think, out there as well. And they have such a big following. To
What's
the
that
point
one?
of no return.
Expose?
Expose.
Yeah.
So the main,
Just popped in my head.
those ones that still tour together all the time. When you go to a freestyle concert, it's Debbie Deb, Lisa, Expose,
Expose, David.
Nocera, Summer.
It's so funny watching them in their late 50s still wearing the tight clothes.
I just like it because sometimes you see Debbie Deb, like when I hear music, she'll say a couple lyrics and then she'll just put the crowd to the mic.
Because she's tired.
Yeah.
When I hear me.
I'm like, you only got 2 songs, girls, do it. No, but it's such a good vibe, and man, those were good
They
days.
would say their name with a Y and then their beginning of their name again.
We got Susie
Mike,
Q.
Mike, Davey Dave.
Oh, Stacey Q.
Like a freestyle.
Maybe
type of
Company
Pig
B.
Latin or something.
Stacey Q
Two
is
of
from
Hearts.
Whittier or
Yeah.
Pico Rivera, one of those. And she went to one of those high school. God, what was the name of the high school? I can't remember, but yeah. A lot of those people, and it was like the sound when you went to these clubs.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the only place you heard it.
I think it was originated, if I'm not mistaken, if I know my freestyle roots good, I want to say it was New York. I think that was the first of the hub, and maybe something in the UK too as well. But it went from New York. It only had it's still huge in Chicago.
Yeah.
Freestyle's alive and well in Chicago. Definitely parts of Northern California, like San Francisco, San Jose.
Yeah.
Definitely out here in LA, everywhere. And people tell me about the good clubs that they had out here in LA. I never got to experience them, like QC's.
QC's was
by
was
Cannon. I remember one time I did a show at the Hop in Lakewood, which was off the chain, and they would have music.
Oh, the Hop in Lakewood?
Yeah.
And back in the day, the Red Onion in Lakewood.
Okay.
Talk about cruising. I wasn't old enough to get in there, so I had a buddy whose older sister had a crush on me, so she would let me use her car. And at the time, she had a really nice Camaro with a sound system in it. So I was like, hey, let me use your car tonight. And
Was it Serwin Vega or Kicker?
It was, they were Vegas.
With the Alpine?
With the Alpine 626 pull out.
Yeah, there you know your
Kenwood.
stuff. Kenwood.
So we would cruise the Red Onion in Lakewood when it was closing. Because that's when all the girls were coming out. And I'd be like, yo, what's up,
You
girl?
were PLP, parking lot pimping.
Yeah.
But I pretended I was in there. I was like, I saw you inside. You're so, hey, what's your name? And they would think that I was in the club. And then they thought this dope car was my car. But yeah, that was those. You had the Red Onion in Lakewood. You had the Hop in Lakewood. You had Quiet Cannons. I believe that was Montebello. Yeah, QC's was in Quiet Cannon. Q's in Whittier.
Okay.
You had Peppers was a big club back
Peppers.
then.
I remember Peppers.
And then what was the one in Redondo
Metro.
Beach? It was Club Metro.
We had a Metro too, where I'm from too. We had a Metro. We had Believe it or not, we had this the restaurant Black Angus would turn into a dope club.
The one in Lakewood did.
Lakewood did as
Oh,
well.
we did it as well too.
And
Okay, cool.
Cerritos.
That's so cool.
Who did Frazier say that owned the hop back in the day? Like somebody known owned the hop.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
we had Frazier Smith on.
Oh, nice.
He was telling us all these old LA stories.
So, and I love hearing this because I mean, when I think you guys can attest to this, when you would go to a club a long time ago, first of all, you would dance, and I enjoyed dancing, but sometimes they would go, and now for the slow jams. You would look for that girl that you were trying to hawk to the whole night.
Yeah.
And then you would just slow. And if she said no big deal. But that was those. Remember the DJ would, for the last 5 or 8 minutes of the club night, you get 2 slow songs at the end.
Yep.
And then that epitomized. You get the phone number, and it was mission complete.
Man, that was
Hey, girl, you want to
seal
dance?
the deal.
I'd be like,
Oftentimes, those slow dancers were my only dancers of the night.
oh man! And if you were really cool, you 2-stepped it, because you know how you had those corny people. That just 1, 2, God. Oh man,
Those were good times, and
What's a
that's
good slow jam song.
and that's definitely Knocking the Boots by H-Town.
oh, that's when you knew what I want to do here, honey. That's why we're dancing to this song.
That they would play that a lot, and then anything with Key Sweat, like Make It Last Forever or Twisted or anything like that. It was game, set, match.
Man, or The Deal.
I mean, it was just different times, and
Innocent times. Who slow dances at a club now?
no,
It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't think.
You
no.
go from fast to fucking. That's it.
We were treating the club almost like high school dances.
it was
Everybody
a big
stand
deal.
on the side because
Yeah.
dancing was important. Like I used to feel so bad for the people that I knew couldn't dance. I'm like, you can't. How are you going to have any action in here?
Yeah.
If you can't shake that, shank that.
And then we took it to another level. I remember they would have dance, like it was just a different time. People just had fun, and it was just. And I remember back in the days, like I said, no cell phones and all that stuff. If you got the phone number, it was on. Like if you just get that piece of paper with that phone number.
So I met my wife at a club. There was a club in Long
Pray
Beach.
you don't pour a drink.
There was a
on it.
club in Long Beach, underage club in Long Beach, where gas lamps at.
Uh-huh.
I used to do shows there. Well, back in the day, that was a club called Bentley's. There was a giant old 50s Bentley in the window, beautiful car, and every Thursday night was underage night.
When you say underage, you mean 18.
You didn't have to be 21 to get in.
Right. Yeah.
So I remember we used to have. Okay, I remember.
Oh, they had 18 and under or something like that.
No, they had it. Yeah, so they had at the Sound Factory in San Francisco. You would go to a club, all right, but they let people that were 16 to 18, but there was like a divider. A divide, like a line
in the room.
It was kind of weird, and you can always see who the creepy guys were because they'd be like, "Hey, what's up? I know you're 18, but come on, what's up?"
Saw the guys with guys with bald spots sneaking under.
Yeah,
the
like,
tape,
"Hey, come on, I know you're 18, but I want to go under."
That's hilarious. But dude, that's how I met. I said to my wife at the club we were dancing. We knew
at the divider.
We had a mutual friend there, and I said, "Hey, if I gave you my phone number, would you call me?" And this is what I love about her. She goes, "I ain't giving you my number." And I was like, "Well, I didn't ask for it." And literally, I wrote it on a piece of paper and gave it to her. And something like 2 days later, she called me, and the rest is history.
I mean, it's such a great. I don't get to talk about this too much. That's why I was excited to come on here. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are like, "What you talking about, man?" You can only share this people around, our age, because they would get it, they would understand. Yeah. And sometimes when we're doing shows and you hang out with these young comics and they're like 30, 32, and I explain shit to these kids. I'm like, damn,
Yeah. I mean, Solomon, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in LA. I was actually born up north though.
Oh, really?
So he's from Northern California.
What clubs do you remember in LA?
I used to DJ at a club in Hollywood called Mr. J's.
Mr. J's, dude. Yeah. Remember we used to go to Mr. J's?
Yeah, there was one in El Monte and one in Hollywood. Yeah.
That was one of the big ones. He was a DJ there, yeah.
Mr. J's was a big spot. Florentine Gardens was a big spot.
I've heard of Florentine Gardens.
It's still there too.
Yeah,
I think I've been to that.
Arena. Was it called Arena? Was a club called Arena there?
No, there was Metro.
So what about roller skating? So that was a big deal for us too.
Okay, so there's a spot in, I can't remember exactly what city it was in. Skate Depot.
That was Cerritos?
Skate Depot was the spot for that. I didn't roller skate. Like I never really got into that.
No.
I think you guys are too tall.
Yeah.
Like, it's more of a 5'9" and under.
You gotta have a good center grab.
You knew who I was.
Because you guys are like,
yeah, we're falling. It's a bad look. I learned early on, don't go anywhere you're going to look like an idiot. So I'm going to stay away from the Skate Depot spot. You know who had one of the best bits about that is
Brett Ernst.
Brett Ernst.
That was great. It's great. It's a great bit.
Talking about like dipping down on one leg.
And then he plays freestyle songs with the.
Right.
Yeah, he plays the freestyle songs when he's doing that bit. So when you guys grew up in this area, the closest skating rink was in what city?
I want to
Skate
say
Depot, but it was-
Downey, maybe. I don't know what.
I think it was
city
Cerritos, or because it was close enough to Long Beach where everybody in Long Beach went.
Yeah.
but it was
Go there.
It was called Skate Depot.
There were two, but I can't remember the name of the
And
other
what
one.
about? Did you guys have drive-ins too? Did you
Skateland.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You had drive-ins that
yeah,
you
we
went
had
with?
Oh, that was
one that's right down the street from my house, and it's now a Lowe's. And then we had a second one, a Circle Drive-In is what it was called by the.
We had two growing
Traffic
up.
circle.
Growing up, we had two. That
you
was
nailed it. Skate Depot was in Cerritos.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we had the where Cal Worthington Ford is there on Belfort Boulevard, right next to it. For
I do.
years,
Oh,
I
that
do.
was a drive-in.
for years that was a drive-in. Then we had the Circle Drive-in that we did.
So, and I've been to the Santa Fe Springs swap meet before. That was a drive-in
Yeah,
too
that
that
as
was
well.
a drive-in as well.
As
yeah.
well.
But we had our own two big ones here that we.
We didn't have to go there.
You didn't have to go there.
We did the whole sneaking people in.
Did you guys go to that swap meet too when you were younger too?
I did a few times. There was a time when I was really into building lowrider bikes, and for some reason that swap meet they had really good deals on all the kinds
made
of
a
parts.
couple
that you
cool
could
ones,
get there
yeah.
and shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to go
So
there.
you guys, that was
My
your
wife's
guys-
from that area,
Okay.
so her and I would go there on occasion, and she's Santa Fe Springs, Whittier area is where she's from. But yeah, we would go there. But I haven't gone there lately because every weekend they got bands and the old school.
I went there about maybe about in 2022 was the last time I went there. I went to a Selena tribute thing and it was so packed. And
Yeah.
I was like, and it's nice. They have it looks like a little arena that they
it's
have.
cool.
And it was packed.
I'm a little afraid to go there right now
No, you
because
can't.
there's this account on Instagram called Raised by Cholas.
No, you
Raised
mean when
by
they're
Cholas.
dancing out there?
And those two
Those are just my
ladies-
cousins. Don't worry about
See
that.
those two
Yes.
ladies with the giant nails?
Yeah.
I kind of talked a little shit on one of them.
Okay.
I made a comment. It was the two of them together, and people were commenting. And you remember the movie Witches of Eastwick? I just put Witches of East LA. Witches of East
That's
LA.
funny.
So now people are like, you better watch out. I'm like, oh shit.
That's
So I
even
was
better
like,
to go.
I might go. I'll go with you.
No, now you gotta have Mexican.
Yeah, I'll go with my
Yeah.
Mexican friend.
Don't be conflating.
I'm gonna
your
walk
stories.
around going, I have one. I have one. He's here with
know,
me.
Selena would have been my age. She's
Yeah.
1971.
That's
71,
right.
Passed
Yeah,
away
she'd be-
95.
She
She'd be
passed away in
53,
95.
yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Yeah, I went to a Selena tribute thing. I just got an email the other day from the Gas Lamp. They have a Selena thing going on this
Ooh, I
Saturday.
gotta tell Becca.
So that's all. I enjoy just that era.
Gen Zs are always making fun of us saying, why do you guys love Yo, here's how you know we have the best music era and all that stuff. First of all, radio stations are still playing that shit today.
Yeah.
When we were walking around in the 80s, no one was out there. Like, if a song from the 50s came on, we all didn't know the fucking words.
Right.
Now, if a song from the 80s comes, everybody knows the words.
Everybody knows the
Like,
word.
I'll be cruising to a gig, and I'll have my buddy Sam with me. He opens for me sometimes. Sam Hirschgold. He's 29 or 28. He knows every word to every freaking song that I listen to. That's an old school song. Right there is proof enough. The music's timeless. It's timeless.
Yep.
And then my son knows the words of the late 90s, early 2000, kind of like that grunge area.
The 90s
they like
was
that.
dope, too.
They like that too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and those are good songs too.
We forget that in the 90s, we were kids still. We were still in our 20s
That's right.
in the 90s. So I tell people I was a child in the 70s, I was a kid in the 80s, and I was a young adult.
So
In the
I was
90s.
a child in the my party days was like late 80s, early 90s. But I'll ask you guys this: do you guys remember the Rico Suave phase?
Yo.
So you guys remember? You guys were walking
Oh, yeah.
around bolo ties.
Gerardo? Yeah.
You guys were walking around bolo ties and everything.
I didn't wear that shit. We thought, honestly, because we got super into hip hop.
Yeah.
We were producing hip hop music and stuff at that time. We thought dude was a clown.
Yeah,
Like, I really were like, what is this guy? And then you realize he was one of the cholos in colors.
yeah. He was that, and he was also one of the jocks in Can't Buy Me Love.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was like, Can't Buy Me Love, dude. Also, another thing with our era, 80s, best movies.
I mean, best movies
Best
ever. And that I just named one. That's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Can't Buy Me Love.
Our
Amazing.
homeboy, Court McGowan, was in it.
That's right. He's in that
Court
too.
was one of the bullies.
Remember, he's the one that went, class. It's my new thing.
Yeah. Let the fun begin. He has that
Yeah.
little line in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Those are, I mean, I think about all those movies. We had, not only did we have, obviously we had the Star Wars, we had Raiders of the Lost Arts.
Do you remember what we were watching in the green room in Laughlin?
Yeah, they were showing Return of the Jedi.
Weird Science.
Oh, Weird Science. Oh, yeah, yes.
Remember they were showing Weird Science? We
Yeah.
were watching.
Weird Science.
They were showing Return too.
Yeah, but that's right. They were showing Weird Science.
Yeah.
And even we were talking about, I think we were talking about early stand-up stuff in the 80s, how none of the stand-up that you'd watch then could make the air now. Especially if you watch Eddie Murphy Delirious. It was great episode.
Right.
But he uses the F word, and I don't mean that.
You mean the other word?
The other word.
Yeah.
Like 6 times in the span of a minute and 38 seconds. I was
Yo.
like, whoa. And it was funny to us.
Crazy. Remember? Woo, woo.
Yeah. Pull over. Pull over.
Over.
But those, I mean, look, I'm just glad I got to be.
Same.
That.
Because when I hear people that don't even understand because kids today, all of them know who Eddie Murphy is. They all know who he is.
Yeah.
But they don't know him as
my
a
son.
stand-up.
You know how my son
They
knows
don't
him?
know him
The
as a
donkey from Shrek.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He's the donkey from Shrek.
Yeah.
He's the guy from
He's the Nutty
Jekyll and Hyde,
Professor.
or Nutty Professor.
Yeah, they know him from that.
But what we remember is him in that leather suit doing Delirious and Raw. By the way, his only 2 specials.
Yeah.
Iconic specials.
Yeah.
And then we know him as the comic that became an actor.
Yeah. And that's exactly how we know him, and it's awesome. My son, I tell him, I go, man, stand up was crazier. You can get away with a lot of stuff, and we can get away with stuff too, but I can more than you.
In life, things were easier to get away with also because going back to the thing of the clubbing, when we were at the clubs and at the parties, it all stayed there.
It stayed there, and sometimes
There
you would
wasn't
fight.
anybody
you would fight.
going, "Oh, guess what happened?" And
No, you would sometimes you would fight somebody, and then you probably see him at the club. Hey man, remember that fight? Yeah, it was last week.
That happened all the time.
all the
That
time.
happened all the time.
Pounding afterwards.
He
we're
pounded
good.
afterwards, whatever. There was this bully that was a bully to me, and then he went to my show years ago, and then he's like, "Hey man, remember when I bullied you?" I go, "Yeah, that shit was funny." And now it's like you get past it. There was no hurt feelings. There was no email sent.
Yeah. I'm gonna cancel you.
Yeah, there was no canceling. And I tell my son, I go, yeah, we had bullies. Like we used to fight.
We need
and
them.
And then sometimes you still had to show up to school the
We
next
need
day.
bullies, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we need bullies. Bring bullies. They canceled bullies. I talk about this on stage. We need bullies.
They
Man.
canceled bullies.
They canceled bullies. Bullies are canceled. You can't. Bullying is not a thing anymore. And I get it in some aspects, but we need them. What do we learn from bullies? We learn when to shut the fuck up. We learn when to run. And I say on stage, I go, no, they cancel bullies, and now students are beating the shit out of their teachers on YouTube.
I
And
mean,
I'm like,
no, dude. I remember we had a teacher with one leg, and we feared him.
Yeah.
like this dude had one leg. Now we
had
jack his ass up.
We were afraid of Mr. Martinez. We had a vice principal, Mr. Martinez. We were so afraid of him. Also, I saw him physically fight one of the bullies.
The school bully. Man.
The school bully, and it was awesome. Today, if that shit went down, principal
lawsuit.
caught on tape beating up a student. You're done. You're out.
Yeah.
He was praised. He's like, yo,
And, okay,
saved us.
Let me ask you this. So obviously, you guys did road trips too with your family, right?
oh yeah.
Okay, so I remember. I'm like, again, we didn't have any phone. We didn't have.
We had the window.
We had the window. We had conversations.
Yes.
And if you see a Volkswagen, bam, slug
Yes,
bug.
slug bug.
Punching each other.
Slug bug.
Mhm.
It is crazy to
And then
think
you would
about
see.
that.
Remember, you would go on the road and you were like, well, let's see if we could see a different plate from that's not California.
Right.
Right.
And then
That's what we did.
Man, just the things that
Out-of-state
and
license
you
plates.
you go on these trips. I mean, because we'd go to visit my family in Mexico. It took 3 days to get there. You talk about conversations and we'd stop at hotels doing
no
it.
screens, no phones, no video
None
games.
of that.
You had each
None
other.
of that.
And you had out the freaking window. That's the thing that makes it so annoying. My wife will do this sometimes. We'll be driving somewhere where I'm like, you're missing everything because she's on her phone. And I'm like, there's such a beautiful world outside the window here.
Right.
Put that shit down. We didn't miss a thing.
Nope.
Remember one of the best road trips we ever went on was Yellowstone Park.
Mhm.
My parents rented an RV, and we were so excited because the bunk beds that my brother and I slept in had windows. So you could just lay on the bed and just watch the world go by.
It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it was
You know what? Now here's the thing. It's going to be very poignant. It's going to be very poetic. Kids are no longer watching the world go by. They're missing it. They're missing the world going by.
Yeah.
They're seeing it secondhand. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Everybody looks at everything through their phone now. Damn, look at that Grand Canyon. Let me take a picture. Like, what are you doing?
So
Just
you
look at it.
guys grew up at the same time when you watched that movie,
Yeah.
National Lampoon's Vacation.
Oh,
You're like,
yeah.
yep, that's the Grand
I love when
Canyon. Yep.
let's
Okay,
go.
let's go.
Just remember that he just
Good talk,
robbed the
Dad.
place.
I love it when he goes, good talk, Dad. Good talk, Dad.
So yeah, we had summers. We'd go on because I don't have a big family. I just have a sister. So my parents came from big families. So my parents always said, with you and your sister, we always want to go somewhere because we didn't get to go anywhere when they were young because there were so many kids. They didn't get to go on vacation. So we go on vacations. We go, and I remember like in the summer, we always went somewhere.
Right.
Sometimes I remember one time we went to Vegas. That wasn't really.
And you always drove.
And everything was road
Yep.
trip.
Yep.
Driving. driving all the time. And we used to go to San Felipe. We had quads. We'd race them in the.
That's awesome.
It was good. It was just a different.
We used to do the 3-wheelers before.
Yeah, we had 3-wheelers and the 4-wheelers.
bottom.
We had the 3-wheelers and the 4-wheelers, and it was just good times. And that
Missing out, kids.
they're missing out, and whatever, not for them anymore.
So what they'll do now is they'll see the Eiffel Tower, but they'll be like, you know what we need to do?
Get
We
an
need to
app.
do a dance in front of it.
Yeah, right.
So it'll be less about that amazing monument
And
and
me
more about
dancing.
us. It's so,
Everything.
the mindset
Yeah.
is so fucked. It's
I
so
tell my
weird.
son, and I know you guys grew up on this too. Like, can you imagine? Let's put this in perspective. Can you imagine taking pictures? First of all, you had to develop your film. You had to wait.
Oh, yeah, you had to
sometimes
wait
1
around.
hour, or 2 or 3 days.
I have a whole
I worked
bit
at a
about it.
drugstore. I worked in the photo department. Sometimes people wait 3 or 4 days to get their pictures. I'm like, you get those pictures, and you would go, okay, cool. I like this one. I didn't like this one. You put them back.
Yeah.
But can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine just going up to somebody? Like, will you like this picture? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean like it?
Dude,
Like,
I have a
what?
whole bit about it.
I don't
Like,
know you.
remember-
Will you like this picture? I'm like, I don't know you. What do you?
We
what's
used to
wrong?
have to wait how long to get the picture, and I say, and by the time you get the picture back, you're like, I don't even remember taking this picture.
And remember,
And then you would just throw it in a photo album, put it under a coffee table, and never look at that.
Yeah,
shit.
and
but also how you said no one was ever really posing.
No one was posing.
Nobody was posing. We
There
didn't have
wasn't
any
their camera.
I don't know who
Yeah.
because we didn't have. I don't remember because every time my dad was in charge of taking pictures, like, hey, you guys just it'd come out like that. There was none of this. There was no.
Oh,
We
man.
gotta take the picture. We don't want to waste the
trying
film.
to do a selfie with a Polaroid, you break your nose.
You're like lifting
Yeah.
it up. You guys-
No post
You have to work
approval.
out just to put up that camera.
That's fuck, man. I wish we had more time. Manny, where are you going to be? What could we promote for you?
Okay, so I'm actually gonna be launching a new podcast with me and my friend comedian Edwin San Juan.
I love Edwin.
I love.
Yeah, so
I'm so he's back in LA, right?
he is. He's back
Oh,
here.
yes.
Cerritos native.
I would love to
very-
have him on the
Very
pod.
funny dude. I'll definitely tell him to come by. This actually podcast is gonna be called The Collector Strike Back. So this is about toys
Dang.
and people. And yes, you will.
Okay, so-
And it's gonna be about comedians and friends that collect things. And we're gonna be talking about the hot toys that are out right now. Edwin and I just went to Frankensons and we had a blast out there.
Where? Are you
Frankensons.
kidding me?
What's that?
Yeah, Frankensons is a big toy where a lot of people buy their toys in the city of Industry, and it's a big warehouse full of a bunch of people, toy vendors that have Star Wars toys.
We just talked about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's close.
So it's close. So we just went there, and then Edwin's like, you know what? We were just talking, just straight toys, and I'm like, we need
That's
to
a
do a
podcast.
podcast. So
And you're both comics.
and
That's
we're,
perfect.
and we want to have comedians kind of like called coming out of the closet with toys, meaning like a lot of comedians are there's people
They're
that are
closeted.
ashamed to like because they don't want people to think they're a nerd. No,
Right.
a lot of people collect stuff, and you can just
Yeah.
collect. It could be toys, it could be a hose, whatever the hell you want to come
Right,
out with,
exactly.
whatever. But
Damn.
people that are just into collectibles,
And it's going to be called what?
Love it.
the Collector Strike Back.
Collector Strike
So
Back.
we had to have like a strike for like Empire Strikes Back.
Where can they find you on social media?
So they can find me.
That's a goddamn.
Yeah, Manny to the Max, MANNY, the number 2, THEMAX. On Instagram, I post all my shows there. You can always catch me doing shows all the time, living and loving life.
Listen.
I produce a show in Mexico. I've been doing that for 2 years.
Oh, I've heard of
Cabo.
this show.
Jason's been
Huh.
out there, and it's what we call. It's more of a vacation spot. We have a good time.
great time.
And we do it during peak season, and it's going on from October through May. But I've been doing that for 2 years, and I love it.
It's a great. I did it. I did it last year, and
Yeah, it's
it was
good
a
times.
blast. Look, guys, do yourself a favor. Look this guy up. Watch his stand-up comedy, either on your computer or whatever your kids are doing, or live. If you want funny, high energy, hilariousness, watch my boy Manny Maldonado, dude. Thank you so much.
Man,
for
I can't
coming
wait to
on.
come back. We got
You're
more things to
definitely
talk
coming
about.
back.
This is a,
We could
this
have
is a
done
home
another
game.
hour. We could have done another hour.
Definitely.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you continue to rate and review at Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, wherever it is that you download your podcasts. Make sure you leave us a 5-star rating, a glowing review, especially on this episode. It definitely helps with the algorithms. If you want to look at our gorgeous faces, of course, go to YouTube, Unidentical Pod on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when a new episode's coming at you. And of course, everything one-stop shop, Unidentical Pod. Go to unidenticalpod.com. Unidenticalpod.com. Thank you guys so much. Talk to you later. Bye.
Peace.
Thanks, man.
Unidentical.